It's 7 o'clock, and we, the League, always start on time. My name is Jane Hardy. I'm co-president of the League of Women Voters of Kent County, and this is my co-president, Nancy Smith. We welcome you most warmly, and since our mission is to promote citizen responsibility and well-informed and active citizen participation in voting, this is a great turnout, and I want to thank all of you for coming and thank the candidates for participating and being willing to serve the public. We have such a marvelous turnout. I feel I must tell you that there's another forum on Monday night by the Downtown Chester Association at the Garfield at 7, so you can come and hear the candidates once more. So now I'm going to turn the program over to Nancy Smith.
I need to tell you a few of the things that we require. First of all, this is being filmed for the public access channel, and the request is that no one walk in front of him while we're doing it. So if you have a place, please keep it during our session.
I'm not with the public access.
You're not.
I'm with the Chester Town Spy.
You're with the SPY, but the public access channel is back there, and we would prefer that nobody get up in front of either one of these. The first thing I'd like to ask you to do is to turn off your cell phone, please, now. I know half of you have forgotten, but please do that now. We do not allow any filming other than these two items while we're at it, and one of the reasons is that we don't, unless it's filmed in its entirety. So no cameras, no cell phone photographs, no filming of any sort other than by the two people who have permission to do it from the League. There will be, please, no demonstrations. This is going to be a fairly short program. Don't take up your candidate's time by applauding what they have to say. At the end of the time, you'll be allowed to cheer whoever you choose, but please allow the candidates to answer the questions without any interruptions, and we can move on and give them more time to speak to the issues. The League would like to invite you to join the League of Women Voters if you have an interest. We have someone in the lobby who will take questions from you or give you a membership application on your way out. And if you just want to support the League by suggesting programs that we can have that will help the community, please get in touch with us. And there are many League members, most of them have on a pen tonight, and just give them your thoughts on what you would like to have done in the community. We're very fortunate to have a longtime member of the League who is an attorney here in Chestertown, Alice Ritchie, and she's going to be the moderator. Mrs. Ritchie.
Good evening. First, I think I'll introduce the candidates. Mr. Fletcher at the far end, Mr. Arrowood, and Mr. Heyman, Mr. Serino, Ms. Kuiper, Ms. Sarah Johnson Brown, and Ms. Geddes. Now, we're going to start off with each candidate will have an opportunity to have an opening statement. They actually have chosen or taken numbers, and that will dictate the order in which they'll give their opening statements. After they've finished their opening statements, which will only take 2 minutes each, and there are timers to keep them to the exact time, we will have 2 questions that have been developed by the League. And for the first question, each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. And at the end of the answers to both questions, we'll have a very short opportunity for questions from the audience. That will be 25 minutes. And so each question should be no longer than 60 seconds and may be directed to one or any number of the candidates, and they will have 2 minutes to answer the question. Again, our timers will be invaluable to keep us going. And at the end of the session, each candidate will have 3 minutes each for a closing statement. And so Ms. Geddes was first for the opening statement.
Hi. I'm going to do this. Got to get this all done. My name is Holly Geddes, and I hope to be your mayor the next time around. I grew up on Long Island and got my degree at Bucknell University in geology. Stand up. Okay.
Take it down.
Take it out. Okay.
Can I help you?
Got it.
There you go.
Okay. After getting my degree in geology, I went to work for IBM as a programmer. Then I became a portrait photographer, managed a portrait studio. When I had my kids, I stayed home with them for a while, did the PTA, even volunteered for a superintendent of schools task force or two, and became an educator. And mostly, though I did teach 5th and 6th and 7th grade, mostly I taught American history 8th grade. And one of the things about that is that you have to teach why towns develop the way they do, where they develop, that kind of thing. That's part of the curriculum. So then I retired and took up a hobby, art, to be an artist. I was president for 2 terms at the Arts League, and then I was the first president of historic downtown Chestertown Main Street. The things that I want to see done are basically some changes in government policy and procedures. When I started my campaign, I had identified 2 particular items. One was the need for economic growth, and especially in jobs that are not shops. The kind of thing that is either tech development of some sort, or I was very disappointed that the brewery didn't get accepted, but those kinds of things that add. Then extra people living downtown, and then I found that we needed more in the way of actual planning in the town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Sarah Johnson Brown?
Excuse me for not standing. I had surgery done on my right knee not too long ago, and I'm still kind of not standing on it like I should, but I don't want to put too much pressure on it. But thank you, League, for allowing me to participate in this wonderful event. My name is Sarah Johnson Brown, and I want to be the mayor of Chestertown. I have lived in Kent County for 35 years, 26 of which I've lived in Ward 3 in Washington Park. I grew up in a rural area very similar to Chestertown, in a little small town called Bishopville, South Carolina. There were 3 retail stores, a 5 and dime store, 2 banks, a library, a drugstore as we used to call it, 2 supermarkets, one a Piggly Wiggly and the other one an A&P. My parents were sharecroppers. I am the youngest of 16. I am the only one that attended and graduated college. I am a veteran teacher of 43 years. I've served on the Kent County Board of Education for 18 years, on the Board Advisory Committee, the Kent County Parks and Recreation Committee, numerous PTAs, Teachers Association, local chapters of the NAACP, and education chairperson of the Maryland State NAACP. I am a member of Historic James United Methodist Church, serving as Pastor Parish Relations Chairperson, representative of Native American Ministries. I am a visionary, a believer, a leader, a communicator, a good listener, and a hard worker. I am also a mother and the grandmother of 4, and I'm also their legal guardian, and I love my beautiful grandchildren.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kuiper?
Thank you. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for having this forum this evening, and thank you, everyone, for coming out. I haven't seen this many people in the town hall since the night of the busking issue and some other events, and it would be a lot nicer to see a lot of you at the town meetings. As you know, I have served Ward 2 for the past 2 years. 2 years ago, I was standing here vying for the council seat for Ward 2. Since that time, I have kept my promise as far as the business community goes. Every new business that has come into my ward, I have welcomed them, and I have discussed with them whatever issues they had in opening their business. My background is in first banking, then mental health. I'm a quality assurance administrator for a local company, and we have programs right now in Florida, North Carolina, Maryland, and Delaware. So my background is reading COMAR regs and standards, writing policies, and making sure that our programs are up to standard. I was just asked to be the moderator for the risk management course at the Maryland Municipal League, and I thought, how did they know? How did they know to choose me? And I have completed over 10 core courses and over 16 electives through the Maryland Municipal League Academy of Excellence in Governance through the University of Maryland. I believe that education and sharing what you learn is the way to grow your town and to connect with your businesses. I have served on the College Waterfront Task Force and the Farmers Market Committee.
Thank you. Mr. Serino.
Be quiet, son. First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, and I'd also like to acknowledge all the other 6 candidates. You don't run for a job this difficult unless you really, really, really love Chestertown. So thank you guys all for running. I just hope I get a few more votes than all of you. But I first stepped foot in Chestertown in May of 1992 when I actually came to visit the Chestertown Tea Party with my mother. We actually came to visit some very dear friends of ours, Charles and Marty Hawkins, who were planning on retiring out at Wharton Creek, and they've remained good friends of mine. I grew up in the small town of Reston, Virginia, a suburb of Washington, D.C., which is now a gigantic metropolis. And I remember growing up and watching the town slowly lose its character. And one of the reasons I'm running for mayor is because I'm really convinced that the character and qualities of our town are truly unique and one of our greatest strengths. And the intervening 20 years since that day that I came to the Chestertown Tea Party, a lot has happened in my life. First and foremost, I married my beautiful wife, Michelle, who's sitting right over there. We purchased a house on Campus Avenue, and we're currently raising 2 young boys, Joey, age 11, and Jake, age 9, right here in Chestertown. My qualifications for mayor, what I currently do on my 9-to-5 day job, and actually evening and weekend job, is I'm the vice president of a little nonprofit here in town you may have heard of called Sultana Projects. My main job when I first joined them in 2000 was to design and implement the educational programs aboard the Sultana, which I'm happy to say have reached over 60,000 students, parents, and teachers. I also regularly lead professional development seminars for dozens of area teachers, and in that capacity, I've worked with scores of teachers, administrators, principals from the Kent County Public School System. More recently, I become the chairman of the Chestertown Planning Commission, and that is really what I think makes me uniquely qualified to be the mayor. As the Planning Commission, you basically go through every single street, every community, every commercial area of our town and envision its future, and I would love a chance to implement some of the visions we've laid out recently in the comprehensive plan.
Mr. Heyman?
Hello, I'm Thomas Heyman. I've lived in Chestertown my entire 30-year life. I grew up on High Street, next to the library. I went through Kent County Public Schools, attended Garnett Elementary, Chestertown Middle, then out to Kent County High School. I went to college at Washington College here in town. After that, I began a career in teaching. My first 5 years were in special education. And then 2 years ago, I moved to 7th grade social studies. I now live on Hilltop Lane with my wife and our 3-year-old son. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Arrowood?
Sorry, Butch. Hi, my name is Bill Arrowwood, and this is my home. I grew up right up the street on High Street, spent all my formative years here. I'm here to tell you that Chestertown is alive with bright young people. Despite the misconceptions, it's not an aging retirement community waiting for people to retire. It's full of bright young people. According to the 2010 census, the average age in Chestertown is 35 years old. And there are more people in Chestertown between the ages of 19 and 50 than any other group. And I'm running because I feel like they need representation in town hall that understands what their time is. It also has a neglected population, one that's struggling, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that they too need to feel that they are supported and have someone renew their trust in downtown and in town hall. And that's the other reason why I'm running, because I see so many areas of town that while we can focus on one part that's really important, we don't want to lose sight of another one that's equally as important, where the safety and concerns of our neighbors are very important. I think that for to succeed as a town, we really need to take a holistic approach to the town in general. We have to really actualize a vision that encompasses the entire community. The first thing we have to do that is to cultivate new businesses. We can do that with infrastructure so the town can become a conduit. Secondly, but not less importantly, we can't go on doing business as usual, because as I was reminded just the other day by the owner of River City Upholstery, good enough simply isn't. No one should ever be intimidated or skeptical to come down to town hall. Thirdly, I believe that being the mayor is a full-time job. It's one that I came fully prepared to apply for. I feel like I've been spending my whole life preparing for this job and working in towns and neighborhoods and talking to people. As a location manager in the film business, I've worked with many municipalities and learned how to innovate and take charge and be responsive to the unique needs of my clients. And the needs of the business of town are very little different. For the last 6 months, I've been going door to door, just talking to folks about their ideas for town. And you'd be amazed how many great ideas the folks in this town have if you actually take time to talk to them. That's what I hope to do more and more, is take time to reach out to you and be your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fletcher?
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Glad to see everybody here. I want to thank God Almighty for bringing me here. Bill said something similar. I'm a native from Chestertown. First of all, I love Chestertown. Chestertown molded me, who I am. I was a young kid running up and down these streets. Never thought I'd be sitting here today. I thank the ones who came before me, those who are here today, and those who are waiting for us to get our act together. It really is. I really love to see people interested in democracy. I went to Garnett School, and from Garnett School, I was one of the first 1,100 people to integrate Chestertown High. It was a divide at that time. Still a divide here today. And we went on to Chestertown High, and from Chestertown High, you had Kent County High School now because of that. I saw some kids walking down the same streets that we used to walk up. And I realized the importance of change. I'm not talking about change, just, a little change. I come from a third generation of community organizers. That's what I am. When I left Chestertown, I went to the military. I went to the United States Marine Corps. So I do have leadership skills. And after that, I came back home, and I went to college, Norfolk State University. I studied in business administration. I started engineering first, but I love business so much. And when I see the streets down here, businesses closing up, my background is I'm a business executive retiree. I left college 5 years. I didn't get my degree. I went 5 years in business. And I went to Los Angeles, California. I became account executive out there. You said something about films. I became a vice president of a successful independent film production company. And what we did, we invested our money and we sold to the major Capitol Records and things like that. And I did that for 6 years. And that's where I learned about money and politics and all these other things. So what I'm trying to say to you, I haven't told you everything, but I love Chestertown, I love the people. I am a community organizer with a diversity group, and we have done some great things on 3 other boards too. So I just love Chestertown, I love the people here.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. So we're going to begin the section of the program which addresses the 2 questions that the League has put together. The first question is, in 1 or 2 sentences, describe your vision for Chestertown in the year 2020. Then, name 3 actions or policies you would undertake to help make this vision a reality. And we're going to start with you, Mrs. Johnson-Brown. You want to take the mic, maybe?
Yes. 7 years from now, through marketing strategies, strategic planning, grant funding, in-kind contribution, and community support, I envision all filled storefronts highly utilized and very profitable. Good jobs with benefits, affordable housing, affordable health care, safety measures in place throughout the town, more of our high school students attending Washington College, recreation for all ages, First Friday and First Saturday events, 2 days of farmers market activities, as well as an indoor winter market. Diversity activities, beautification projects such as preservation and restoration, frequent town hall meetings to hear from the public. I also envision Chestertown being a lively and thriving community where all of its citizens can be safe, live in peace, work together to move Chestertown in a new direction as we continue to recognize our past and embrace our future.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kuiper? I think everyone has received the question, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Before I begin, I set goals, and that way I can measure whether I have achieved my goals or not. And I want you to imagine this is the year 2020, and I'm reflecting back on the day I took office as mayor. In 2014, Chestertown saw somewhat of an economic recovery. Some of the businesses had closed, and some new businesses had opened. Critics were looking for the town to fix it, and I was faced with 4 areas that needed to be an immediate focus. And the first area is Chestertown had no economic development program in 2014. The marina was purchased by the town before I was on the council and became a financial burden to the town at that time. Then the public school system. In 2014, Chestertown received a new superintendent of schools. This was a shining star for Chestertown as she was visible, attended the county commissioners' meetings, made herself available to all the community, and we looked forward to a new public school system. And then medical services. We've seen our hospital become an emergency center. This has not been good for the community. It has also not been good for our residents, especially because I have found out that lately our medical services and personnel have decreased. Our fire company has decreased in membership, and it has put a medical necessity burden on our community.
Thank you very much. Mr. Serino?
Thank you. When I look ahead to 2020, I see a lot of changes that are very exciting. For one thing, I see us as a community with the prettiest waterfront on the Eastern Shore, featuring a revitalized waterfront with a foot trail that extends from High Street all the way to the Armory and then directs pedestrian traffic back to our historic marketplace, developed in conjunction with Washington College. I see a vibrant downtown with fully occupied storefronts that are fed in part by new residential developments that are responsively planned at places like Stepney Manor, Twilley Lane, and the current municipal lot on the 300 block of Cannon Street. I see Kent Plaza with a much needed and overdue facelift with a parking lot with some landscaping and some pedestrian amenities that safely guide people to the stores, perhaps funded by a federal grant in the name of stormwater runoff management. I see a completed rail trail that is part of a town-wide trail system that allows our residents to safely travel from residential areas to commercial areas to institutional areas to our waterfront and then back to their residence. I see a dynamic Washington College, slightly expanded perhaps, where the students actually participate in town events, where we come up with creative ways to work collaboratively with that institution to get their students to patronize our stores, and where we develop a collaborative partnership to address places like the waterfront and other blighted areas of town. I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll have an improved public school system that will prepare our students for the workforce. And lastly, as a father of 2 young sons, I really would encourage the town to provide recreational amenities for all ages, including playgrounds, slides, and things of that nature. Finally, I think we need to aggressively rebrand Chestertown as the gateway to the land of pleasant living, and look at 21st century marketing tools on the internet via our website and social media to promote Chestertown for increased heritage and ecotourism based on our many strengths.
Thank you very much. Mr. Heyman.
My vision for Chestertown in 2020 is a vibrant town of full storefronts. And within that town, there's a mix of college students, young families, retirees, and tourists. The 3 actions or policies I would take would be, first, make events throughout the year to draw tourists and for the people living in town. Also, number 2 would be to create a working relationship with the college to make the town a college town and not a town with a college. And thirdly would be to set up forums for the citizens to express their views and be an active part of the government.
Thank you. Mr. Arrowood?
When we think of, when we think of the year 2020, we think of 2020 vision. And I'm pretty sure I'm stealing Chris's company's line for that, and that's something that's a plan that they're looking at. And when I look ahead at the future, it's interesting. Today I picked up a copy of the old comp plan, and it was written 7 years ago. And his planning commission is just about to revise it again. And looking at the pictures that were taken then, it's hard to recognize Chestertown now from 7 years ago. Even though everyone thinks Chestertown grows so slowly, the dramatic changes without us even knowing it. I think one of the things we need to be worried about is making sure that we're having a unified vision for that. Making sure that we have a plan in place to make sure that people know where things are, and then that it brings us together. Another thing we haven't really done in any of the comp plans in the 50 years of them writing or so is that we haven't really tried to unify the disparate parts of the town. And that would be my vision for the town, is that we have whole chunks of town that are floating away from us. All of Flatland Road and the back of Hack Drive. I want to find a way to make them feel like they're a part of town, to renew them as a part of that. When I talk to folks in Coventry, it's a great subdivision, but their kids go away to Wharton, and they're losing the idea of coming from Chestertown, and that is so important. So I want to find a way that every kid that comes up now has the same feelings of being from somewhere that I had, that it's important to be from here, that you can grow here, and even if you go away for a little while, we want you back. That's my vision for Chestertown, is that as we create a whole environment that Chris very eloquently spoke of, and the Planning Commission is doing a dynamite job laying out for us, that our kids will know this is where they're from, and that's important. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, I come from a different point of view. Chestertown is a great town. Chestertown, when I was growing up, was thriving. When I mean thriving, businesses were successful all up and down High Street. The waterfront, the marina, Cannon Street. I've seen that with my own eyes. Now it's not thriving. Chestertown has a vision. And what Bill said also, some parts of Chestertown is tapering off. It's like a divide. You cannot move a town unless you got everybody involved, just like this right here. I see Chestertown as being a thriving town again. All the infrastructures, the marina, the armory, High Street, Cannon Street, everybody involved. We need to go back to where the founding fathers first established Chestertown. It was established to be a thriving community. Let me share with you Royal Port of Entry. In the colonial times, Chestertown was designed the primary port of entry for the upper shore. Busting waves lined the waterfront where laborers loaded ships with local crops bound for Europe and Caribbean. Vessels from across the Atlantic brought trade goods, slaves, and convict laborers to Chestertown. A changing community. We're changing right now. By the Revolutionary War, our Chestertown had become the largest and most important and educational institution. That's what Chestertown is destined to be. You got to go back and see what Chestertown's about first. People say, what is our new identity? Chestertown has an identity of being great. I've seen Chestertown great. It's not great yet. We can sit here and give you a 10-point agenda of what we can do, but you need all people to make it work. A stable community first. Like Bill said, bring everybody together. There's great ideas out there. Some of you guys are so great. You got ideas. We can make Chestertown so great, and our kids can take their greatness with them. But right now, we must look at the real issue, the bread and butter issues. Because if we don't have those issues addressed, we can't move forward. We're stuck.
Thank you very much. Now, then there is one more question.
Excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Geddes. I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
I don't want to be impatient. but-
No, right, you're correct.
Okay. My vision for, well, let's do this. Okay. My vision for Chestertown is that I'm looking for a vital, thank you, enthusiastic population, strong businesses, and a strong base of people living in the town who enjoy the amenities of town. In terms of business, I want to look not just as the shops and some of the current things that we have, like lawyers, and Mr. Ortiz pointed out there were a lot of lawyers and a lot of services. I think that we need to also have some of the things like the brewery, some of the things possibly. There's a new broader internet that it is possible to come into town, hook to the town office, and then be used as a hub from there, so that the businesses and individuals can have internet service and use it for business. So this would be a perfect place, for instance, to have small internet research things and at home, people working from home, that kind of thing. I want to see a more vibrant number of people downtown, and right now we need to have some of the restoration done in the buildings that are downtown, and, as has been suggested, the 2 shopping centers. So that needs to be put together. We need to have more people participating, celebrate the diversity that's in this town, and use the strengths from all the population. So full-time residents, collaboration with organizations, but also collaboration with the individuals, and a stronger economic. To do all of this, we need more and better planning and design, and not doing things in the fashion of ad hoc, which would be a change from now.
For the benefit of the people in the hall, that was Ms. Geddes, and I'll try to be very careful and introduce everyone so that you who can't see what's going on and have to just listen will know who's speaking. Okay, so this is the second question. What would your first priority as mayor? What would be your first priority as mayor, and how would you accomplish this goal? What is the most serious problem facing Kent County, and how would you address it? Ms. Johnson-Brown?
My first priority, My first priority will be economic development, which will increase the job market, bring additional revenues to the town, and add to the retention of local residents as opposed to having them relocate elsewhere. Currently, there are several vacant storefronts in Chestertown. What a loss. There are individuals who have approached me and inquired about getting a storefront, but the underlying problem is that they don't know how to obtain the resources to do this. Here we have willing, talented, and energetic people who can contribute to not only their financial gains, but to the welfare of the town as well. So my solution to this problem is to work with these individuals and others that are interested in starting their own businesses through a step-by-step process to get them where they need to be, such as acquiring a small business loan, seeking grant funds, shared opportunity space, working with the Downtown Business Association, and staying with them throughout the entire process. This is just one small step for a few small businesses, but I know it is a step in the right direction. Marketing will also play a major role in attracting businesses to our area.
Ms. Kuiper?
I will start with economic development. I have the most diverse ward in Chestertown. I have the college and the businesses. And I will begin workshops with our largest employers. I will then include the business community, and then we will develop a 5-year plan. We will work with the commission to make it happen, every commission to make it happen. And in keeping that with that, if you attend the county commissioners meetings as I do, like the 7-year itch, it comes up again about a Third Bay Bridge and a Chestertown Bridge bypass. And we will factor this into the 5-year plan. Then we will work on the marina. I met Secretary Gill, the Department of Natural Resources, this summer. I invited him to come to Chestertown, and as soon as I shook his hand when he was here last week, he said, "Linda, all it took was a business card," and I came. And we walked the waterfront, and he has given us connections for grants, not only from DNR, but from other state agencies, and we will make a timeline, and we will set a goal, and we will develop the marina. We will make it a viable marina. We will make it a place where families come to gather in the marina, and we will fill the boat slips. And we will not be depending on $53,000 of the budget to subsidize the mortgage. Our public school system, I talked about the public school system a minute ago. We have a wonderful new superintendent of schools. We have the county commissioners who are eager to bring our school system from the low 5% up to the top 5%. We have the Bayside Hoyas who are working with at-risk children in the community. And I have to stop.
Mr. Serino?
Thank you. The number one thing that I would do if elected would be immediately start chipping away at this perception that Chestertown is not a business-friendly community, because in a town this small, perception is reality. So what do you actually do to make that happen? Well, one of the first things that I would want to do would simply be to establish a series of business forums for all 3 of our commercial zones. For those of you who haven't been poring over zoning maps for the last 6 years like I have, we have a general commercial district, which is basically Kent Plaza and Washington Square. We have a downtown commercial district, which is our historic district, which is what gets most of the attention with the empty storefronts. And then we also have a C3 commercial district along 213 up to Washington College, and then on High Street extended. And the goal of these forums would simply be to invite business leaders to open that dialogue with our town leaders and say, what's working for you? What brings people to your businesses? When do you succeed? What are some of the impediments to business in your location? What are some of the physical constraints of the facilities where you operate? Importantly, what can we do collaboratively to improve the area where you do business so that you can be in position to succeed? Secondly, I would assign a task force of tech-savvy individuals, web designers, computer technicians, to look at Chestertown's website and our use of social media and revolutionize the way that we market this town as a haven for heritage tourism, ecotourism, and the arts. We have many strengths, and you tend to forget that in a recession, but we're not marketing them in a way that people my age or younger go to get the information. In today's economy, most of that is done on the internet, and we need to get up to speed with the 21st century. I would reach out to President Mitchell Reese and his administration and work immediately to establish the type of collaborative partnership it's going to take to help position us for a revitalized waterfront, because love them or hate them, based on their current land holdings, Washington College is going to play a huge role in the future development of Chestertown for the next 10 to 15 years, and I would immediately start working to build that partnership.
Thank you very much. Mr. Heyman?
My first priority as mayor would be the people. It doesn't matter if you run for mayor, if you run for council, everybody here is part of Chestertown, and your voice is just as important as ours up here. So I would get out to the people to see what the needs of the people are, what they want, how can the town help the people here, and To do that, I would set up forums throughout the town, move town council meetings to different communities. Everyone's voice is important. I want to hear everyone's voice. And then just that, if you contact the town office or send an email, whatever, to get a personal contact back to let you know that your voice has been heard, that, it is important and that something's going to be done about your concern.
Thank you. Mr. Arrowood. Mr. Arrowood is speaking now.
Thank you. One of the things I talked about people when they ask me, isn't it hard to run against 6 people? And I say to them, no, because I know that if being at the end of the line, I get everybody's ideas all the way down the line. So it's really actually kind of refreshing to come all the way down the line, because they're all saying, we're all going to be saying a lot of the same things. And it's about really finding ways that are implementing those ideas. The first thing I think we need to work on is we need to work on our infrastructure. And we need to make sure that we have a safe walkway through the town all the way down to the marina. If we're going to fix the marina's waterfront, we should fix the waterfront on Morgneck Road. If you're going to have a rails to trails, it should go somewhere. Let's see these projects through to completion so that people have a sense that things are being done the right way. A lot of time in Chestertown, we have a lot of great projects that get started and take a little too long or don't really seem finished. And I want to go through the whole town's list of things that were almost done greatly and make sure they're done right. Procedure. Procedure in town hall is a little open-ended sometimes, and people are intimidated to come and do business with town. And that goes to what Chris was saying about being business-friendly. We don't have the forum or the means to do it. And you do that by creating a community development corp, and that's an extra town corporation it's a nonprofit that helps guide people. It helps guide business, helps guide funding, helps guide loans. But it does it through the auspices of the town hall without people feeling like they have to come in here and be intimidated by maybe they shouldn't ask town hall for something. Lastly, you talk about implementation. One of the things I've worked on for the last year and a half is Parks and Recreation in Chestertown, something we haven't really had as an active role in a long time. Parks bring people together. Getting people together where they don't belong normally and giving them a chance to interact makes better neighbors. This last year we ran a bocce league with 60 people that had never met each other. And I was amazed by how strong the neighborhood got better very suddenly. And it's little things. Find the little details that you can go out and make small victories. Small victories make medium-sized victories. Medium-sized victories make giant ones. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, I want to, agree with these two natives here. I believe there should be a dialogue. I believe we should go around and just ask people, what should we do? There's some local people here, and there's some tourists here. I believe in jobs. The reason why some jobs, I went to school for business, so I think I know a little bit about this here. I know some businessmen here too. If you don't have foot traffic, you can put all the stores here on the block. But if those people are not patronizing the businesses, they don't have jobs, they don't have paychecks, they can't purchase the product. Now, maybe some people can purchase the product, but people have to have jobs. I've been here 10 years, and jobs is what everyone is asking for. Whether you're struggling, whether you're in the middle class, 30, 40 year of age, raising kids, they want affordable housing. Businesses can come here, SCORE. I think SCORE is still here. I think every business who wants to start a business should go to SCORE first. And because you got to give yourself 3 years to see if that business is for you, or you'll fold. Because the business has cycles where you may fold or you may prosper. So I think that we should just pretty much, anyone who wants, to be an entrepreneur, have them here, but also look at jobs. What I would do, pick up the phone. I think, Linda, you said something right. But you got to get the right businesses here. Green companies would do great here because they won't move their money overseas. They'll stay here because green companies, like windmill companies and green companies, they can't move. So you got to ask, what companies do you want in Chestertown? So you got to be specific.
Thank you. Ms. Geddes. Ms. Geddes.
Thank you. I'm going to pretty much agree that economic growth is something that needs to be done in this town, but it ties to everything else. We need, one of the first things I would do is to designate somebody in the town office to work full-time on bringing people into and encouraging entrepreneurs to join our town and to promote the town for our events, but promoting the town in general. I think that we haven't done promotion in this town in a very effective way, and I think we need to do that. But I also think we need to encourage businesses when they come. If a business comes to our door and says, we'd like to give it a shot, we ought to be saying, okay, how can we help? What can we do to make the world easier for you? Here are our regulations. Make sure that you understand them. All of the kinds of things that bring the people in and help them get the job done and get what they need to do so that they can join our community. I think one of the big things that's important, and Kent Forward has pointed this out, that the schools need to be really top-notch. And they have been, and they should be again. And the mayor can't get into running the schools. That's a county thing. But there's no reason why the mayor can't support volunteer groups or something of that sort to help the students in our town so that they are strong and capable and do well. I want the town to be, the town government to be considered an open. I want the procedures to be clear. I want the line items in the budget to be clear so that we know what our capital improvement budget is and all that kind of stuff. And I will have regular office hours so that somebody could come in, sit down, have a cup of coffee, and discuss, as well as an email address for that. So that's how I would start off.
Thank you very much. Now we've come to the section of the program where there will be questions from the audience. And Nancy has the microphone, and so remember there's some rules here. Your question should not be any longer than 60 minutes and 60 seconds. And each, if you direct them to everybody, they have 2 minutes each. You could direct them to everyone or to one or more of the candidates.
Okay. I have just a couple of things to say. One is we neglected to mention at the beginning that there will be another forum on Thursday night for the candidates for City Council. It's at 7 p.m. also in this room, and you can come back and be warm with us again. I'm going to hold the microphone. Mrs. Ritchie is going to recognize whoever it is she chooses to recognize in the audience, and you're going to have to come to me because I'm going to hold on to the microphone.
Okay, why don't we start with Mr. Stetson?
Do I come to you, or can
Did you just get as close as you can to me?
Oh.
I'm holding.
I can get mighty close to you. This question's for all the candidates. At the present time, there's no requirements for you to file your campaign contributions, who made them and how much. Would you be willing to make that list public? And if so, where would the public be able to go to see it? And I would suggest the internet. I will tell you that if you run for a county office or a state office, you are required to file that. For some reason, we don't do it here in town. Would you make that list public and make it available to people to see it?
Okay.
All candidates.
Okay. We just go down the line? Yeah? Okay. We'll try a new tact. Okay. Yes, I would absolutely have that available. I would think that all candidates, that there would probably be a website developed so that each and all candidates could put the information out instead of having it be hodgepodge. So a well-designed, some branch off of the town government or something of that sort. But absolutely clarity in all of what's done, the budget and my finances. Absolutely.
Well, I guess it wouldn't take much for me, and I can share mine now. I live on a budget, and I did not include this in my annual budget, but since I decided to run for mayor, I did spend $137 on some little small signs, 20 of them to be exact, and that is it. I cannot do anything else. I have 5 mouths to feed. So you can have mine right now. That's it.
Well, this is not up to me. It's up to the Chestertown Board of Elections. And if the Chestertown Board of Elections revises their voting registration, application for absentee ballot. Any of the processes that need to be revised will be done through the Chestertown Board of Elections, which is separate from the county. And I would love to see a website, a living website, and on that website you could download the application for an absentee ballot.
I just asked if you voluntarily put out a list. Did you put out a list?
Mr. Stetson, I think she answered the question the way, I think she understood the question. Didn't you, Ms. Packard? She did understand the question. Mr. Serino.
I would have no problem voluntarily letting anybody know who any of my donors are. The one suggestion I would have in retrospect is sometimes donors like to be anonymous for various reasons, so it would have been nice to know that in advance. For the donor's sake, not so much for my sake. I have absolutely nothing to hide, but sure, no problem.
Mr. Heyman.
I have no problem. I mean, and I would make it available in any kind of format, not just internet, because some people don't have internet availability, but, you know, multiple forms.
Mr. Arrowood.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. My mom's in the back, and she's my treasurer, so if you're not sure, you can just ask her where all the money's come from.
Mr. Fletcher.
No problem. I finance myself. And it's a good question, because a lot of people think we get a lot of money to do what we do.
Mr. Fletcher, I think you have to use the mic
I'm
because
sorry.
the people in the hall
I like
probably
the question.
can't hear you.
I like the question a lot because a lot of people, when I first ran, someone run for mayor, they thought we were going to make a lot of money. I said, no, we don't get a lot of money. We don't get anything. What? So that's a good question because, this is grassroots. We're small town, rural people who are just trying to make a town work. So, my budget is very limited too.
Thank you. Now, the next question, the gentleman in the violet shirt.
Thank you. And thanks for everyone for running. It's very important that everyone participates. My question is this. You all laid out some plans for the future of Chestertown. And in order to implement those plans, it's going to take some dynamic and very strong leadership. So would each of you give an example of the kind of leadership that you have been involved in and any results that you've accomplished through being a leader in a particular organization? Thank you.
Now I'm just going to change the order and start with Mr. Fletcher.
I think that's a great question. That's a great question. I appreciate it. I'm outreach minister. I said I come from three community organizers, my grandfather, my grandmother, and my mom, my dad. I got a landmark. I think you walk by my house every day, a landmark barbershop there. That's when I first got into the business spectrum of the community in Chestertown. I do a lot of outreach ministry in my community, wherever they need me. I was trained to do this down south in California. I worked with Christ United Methodist Church about 15 years ago, and I brought a vision to them. The mayor helped me, and we helped feed the community for 2 years. I used to come up from North Virginia back and forth. And that's where I really got into crossing over from my side of the community, the African American side of the community, to the broader community. I work with 5 churches. Then I got involved with a group of people, Rebuilding Together. I was on the board for 4 years with them. And with the also co-founder of the Diversity Group Dialogue Group, which is doing a great job in the community. I mean, it's incredible. They are leaders in the community that's helping bring this community together. I work with Historic Society. We did the African American tour map, which now is popular. They ordered 3 times. And working with different people with different backgrounds, it's been incredible. So I have worked in the community, board of directors, 3 board of directors, the Garfield Center Foundation also, and the GAR. I'm on the board there too. So these are great people, and the Historic Society, I love those guys, man. These are great people pushing the community, and and it helps me to grow. And it helps me to see, my weakness and strong points. So I do put myself in the mix of leaders who are pushing the community to see where I'm at, and that's why I'm here. That's how I got here, because the leaders helped me to see who I am as a leader.
Thank you. Mr. Arrowood?
For the last 15 or so years, I've been a location manager and scout in the film business, and for that purpose, I get to work all over the Eastern Seaboard. It's a job that I've really relished doing and learned a lot about the whole parts of the Eastern Seaboard. On jobs like that, I work with anywhere from budgets on small commercials for the NFL to giant multi-million-dollar projects like the Last Night Shyamalan movie. So I've had to learn how to adapt and work with a lot of different groups and sizes of budgets and adapt to different creative types and find ways to make what their vision is come to reality. As a leader, I find that the best way to do is to be a listener. And to be a listener, you're making a group thing happen. When I came to, I've been a participant at the Tea Party Festival for 25 years, and if you've ever been to the Tea Party, you've seen me jump off the boat. But a few years ago, I got to get involved with the board of the Tea Party and became the vice president of the Tea Party Festival. And what I did there was to work specifically through long-standing ideas and problems that they had that just weren't manifesting in the festival being new again. And so we worked through the committees, and we found new ways to implement design elements and signage and sponsors to make the festival viable again in a way that it hadn't been in a long time. I've worked with other numerous organizations in the area, mostly in a volunteer capacity, just because I enjoy being a part of the group dynamic. But being a leader means being a person that can talk to people, relate to what they want, and help them turn around. I told a story a few days ago that one of the things with my job is that I have to work with production companies and neighbors when I come to film a film project. And it's really disruptive and painful, and no one really, it's a big show for the thing. My goal when I do that is to make sure that both parties are happy. If we're gonna come into your house and turn everything upside down, I want you to come out on the other side and believe that you had the best time of your life when this crazy group of people came in and turned your house upside down. And that's what I'm good at, is coming in, and even though things are gonna be a big flurry, at the end of the day, you're gonna walk away and say, that was the best day we ever had. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Heyman.
I've chaired several different committees in my school and for the county level, bringing community members, businesses, parents together to help the school, and also in implementing in the county and the schools positive behavior interventions and anti-bullying programs. And it led to the county this year, Queens County, every school received gold from the state of Maryland for anti-bullying and positive behavior.
Mr. Serino.
Thank you. I'll just cite two examples. As some of you in the room know, my day job is working for the schooner Sultana, and I vividly remember my first day, my friend Drew McMullen, who really kind of spearheaded the project, said, hey man, we need someone to come in and develop these programs and then sell them to schools. So my entire first year, the boat wasn't even built yet, and everybody was so busy with the construction that what was envisioned as a multiple person job became a one-man show where I literally single-handedly developed our curriculum and had to market programs for a boat that literally didn't exist. So that's actually probably the greatest and proudest thing that I've ever done, is develop quality programs that have reached over 60,000 students, and professional development programs that have reached literally hundreds of teachers. You know, these programs have won national, regional, state, and local awards. And I also think that most of you would agree that Sultana has also been a great economic engine for Chestertown. Business owners tell us all the time, when the boat's in town, it makes a noticeable difference when we're doing public sales or our signature event. Next weekend, downrigging. I guess the other example I would use that I think ties directly to possibly being the mayor is my time on the Planning Commission. I've been on the Planning Commission for 6 years now. I would suggest that it's probably been some of the most tumultuous 6 years the Planning Commission has ever seen. When I first joined the commission, there were no less than 3 annexations on the table that would have fundamentally altered this entire community, and if built out, would have contributed over 2,000 new houses, not residents, but houses to the community. I also was instrumental in leading an effort to comprehensively rezone the town so that our comprehensive plan matched up what we wanted in the zoning. That is something that had wallowed on the Planning Commission's itinerary for over 10 years, and I took over and we got it done in about 18 months, and we're about a month away from revising the comprehensive plan, which again, if that's a document everybody in this town should read. We hope to have a draft ready by November or early next year, so check it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kuiper.
I have been the past chairman of the Wildlife Show and the Antique Show. I have worked for the past 25 years with the homeless and the indigent. And believe me, trying to find money from state budget cuts isn't as easy as you think it is. I have worked with grants, multiple grants, pass-through grants, written RFPs, I write policy and procedures, all in the hopes of finding money to keep our doors open. We have been through furlough days recently to keep our doors open. We have lost our health insurance to keep our doors open, and we continue to try to find ways to find money. I am currently working to get a new program, not a new business, but a new program in Chestertown that will employ approximately 20 people. I've been working since April, back and forth with the state. I am used to working with budgets. I am used to working on a budget, and I'm used to trying to find any nook and cranny that I could possibly find for grant monies. So I have background in finance. I keep an eye on our budget, and to date, I have only really spent in Ward 2 $100 out of your taxpayer dollars, local taxpayer dollars. And one of my proudest feats is that I got the farmers market signs up. I met some resistance locally, and I found out how much it was going to cost. It was going to cost the farmers $850 a sign, and I got 4 signs for less than $600, and they're up.
Thank you very much. Ms. Johnson-Brown?
My primary leadership skills deals mainly with education. I was elected to the school board 3 times, which is 6 years each, given a total of 18 years. And I think that's leadership within itself. I served 8 years on the Parks and Recreation Board, and about 43 years of various school functions and activities. I've served with various churches and activities, multicultural leadership, and parent involvement.
Thank you very much. Ms. Geddes?
Well, probably the most significant leadership that I've done is that I taught 8th graders in a school that had almost half the students on free and reduced lunch, and you get 32 kids into a room seated and doing what they're supposed to. It takes some skill to be able to do that. As a result, I was elected twice to a new committee that was started in Montgomery County called the Council of Teaching and Learning, which was, I represented middle school history teachers, and it was to talk to the administration and say, here are some of our concerns and that kind of thing. And I was elected to that twice. Here in town, I stood on the shoulders of another very good leader, great leader, and that was Barbara Vann, and became for 2 terms, I was president of the Arts League. And the reason I mentioned Barbara is that before her, the Arts League was kind of having some problems. And after that, it needed to have its committees put together and that kind of thing. So that was my task after Barbara kind of rescued it. So that took some leadership and time. And in the first year that we had a Main Street program, I was the president. And the first year of any organization like that, as you know, is the organizational year. It's the time you put all the pieces together. And I think we did very good work with that. So that was, the Arts League at Main Street, historic Main Street, were the 2 here in this town. But I've worked on church committees and all sorts of things like that. Anyhow.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next question. There?
In the back?
Yep.
Wherever you want me to go.
You'll be next, Jill.
Jill.
Have any of the candidates been attending any county commissioners or mayor and council meetings since you have decided to run for mayor? And if not, why not?
I think this question has been directed to everybody, and we'll start with Mr. Serino.
The answer to that is no, and the reason I would cite for that is because I'm a pretty busy individual. I am raising 2 young children. I agreed to coach my young 9-year-old soccer team well in advance of declaring for this race, which takes up a couple nights a week. It's not that I've never been to county commissioners meetings or to mayor and council meetings. I've attended them many times during my tenure here in Chestertown, but recently I have not because I've had a pretty full slate.
Mr. Heyman.
My answer is also no at this time, and it's from teaching, and then I'd worked the after-school program, tutoring, and helping with homework after school, and then coming home to my 3-year-old son.
Mr. Arrowood.
As the chairman of the Chestertown Rec Commission, I'm regularly in attendance at mayor and council meetings and giving them updates and reports on the progress of the Recreation Commission. So I've been there on a regular basis in that capacity.
Thank you. Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, I've been there, and I met some friends. I met Holly and Bill also. And it's important that we do that. And it's important that we bring everybody to the table. I just want to say one thing. I really appreciate this opportunity. And I know there's a lot of questions going on. But I just want to say one more thing. Our town is a multicultural community. And we must not ever forget that. There's all kind of people. We got, African Americans, Hispanics. I saw a Hispanic couple get married today, excuse me. We got Mid-Easterns, we got everybody. Everybody needs to be represented to the table. And the question that was previously asked, can we pull this off? Can these leaders, can we reach across the table and meet the needs of everybody? If we don't do that, we really got problems.
Thank you. Ms. Kuiper?
I've missed one town council meeting since I was elected to council. And that was unavoidable. I attend every county commissioners meeting unless I have another commitment, another meeting. And I want to know what's going on in the county as well as the town. I told you a little while ago that the conversation came up about Chestertown Bypass and the Third Bay Bridge. This came from the Secretary of Department of Transportation 2 weeks ago at the commissioners' meeting when the Secretary of Transportation and other department heads came to Kent County to tell us that they had put together a study group so that they would give the county permission to tax us as residents for the revenue that they're going to take away from us in the highway user money. So, in the Maryland Municipal League, the league has a committee that is studying this and will take this to the legislators to fight the highway user money that will be taken away from the counties disproportionately, because they can't tell you what percentage of highway user money will be taken away from Kent County in proportion to other counties in the state of Maryland. I've run across this before with cuts in mental health. The cuts are disproportionate. You ask them, what are the percentages compared to the other counties? And they look at you like you have two heads. So I do go to the county commissioners meetings. One of the most important things that I did when I was elected was go house to house to tell everybody about the Homestead Tax Credit Act and the Maryland State Property homeowners and renters tax credits. I also took this to the commissioners meeting to let everybody in the county know about this.
Thank you very much. Ms. Brown?
I would love to attend, but I don't, simply because I work 2 jobs. I have, again, 5 mouths to feed and clothes to put on kids' back, so I can't go to meetings. I leave home every morning at 7 o'clock, and it is about 8:30, 9 o'clock when we get home at night. However, this will change at the end of the school year because I will be retiring.
Congratulations. Ms. Geddes?
I haven't been to but one county meeting since I've been here. But even before I became interested in being mayor, I had attended a number of town council meetings. And since I've declared being a candidate, I've been to almost all of them. I've had a little pneumonia recently, so it's sort of precluded doing some. But otherwise, I've been to a lot, which I'm very glad for because it added one more thing to my agenda. I realized how the planning for things like some of the parks have not necessarily been done as completely as they should have been, and that has cost the town, you guys, some extra tax money, and I find that to be very disconcerting. So if you have a event, or a place that you're trying to develop, and you forget, oh, oops, I forgot to put in a sidewalk, I forgot to put in a bench, I forgot to put in trees or water, the grants that you get are only for the things you remembered to ask for. And so without that kind of planning, there have been some things that have been somewhat costly mistakes. So I'm really interested. I've also found out that there's no line item budget for capital improvements, which means you can't plan for when the streets are going to be improved or the sewers are going to be looked into or any of that kind of stuff, because there's no planned budget for it. So that kind of planning is something that I discovered needed to be improved upon as I went to the meetings.
Thank you. We have a question from the back of the room. Please state your name.
My name is Ron Jordan. Hello, everyone. I am not a Chestertown resident, but all things that happen on the council and the mayor affect my business, my family, and many of the young people that over the years I've had a chance to coach here in Chestertown and Kent County. So my question is, of the jobs outside the economic engines in this city, being Washington College and Goodall and the hospital, has anyone on the panel at this time taken the time to think about what other economic engines you can recruit to Chestertown, what type of businesses those would be, and lastly, how you can bring the disenfranchised communities in Chestertown together for jobs? Thank you.
Now, can everybody hear me? I think that question was really directed to the person any of you who would like to answer it. So you raise your hand. Oh, Mr. Arrowood.
Yeah. I get to go first.
Yes.
It's a whole new thing. There's a couple of great questions in there. I'll address a couple of them. First of all, if you said, what things other than industry that we currently have would you look to bring in? Is that right? I spent some time talking to some folks recently from the Eastern Shore Entrepreneurship Center. And one of the things that we've talked about is building incubator-like spaces. And an incubator space, for those that don't know, is a shared office space. And that has any variety of possibilities. It can be from a simply open room with computer access and desks and whiteboards. You can have meetings and get together and have a synergistic experience with other people that are sharing that space, all the way up to a maker's facility. And a maker's facility is a fabrication shop that might have a plasma cutter and a wood shop and a metal shop and a 3D printer. The people that are doing research and development can come together. The municipality can lead by doing things like that. Salisbury, Maryland, through the Eastern Shore Conservative Enterprise Center, just opened one of those in their town. They're being very progressive in that. The other thing you can do is that through things like the Enterprise Zone programs and other designations you can get for the state of Maryland, you can create jobs that are specifically designated. You can bring in employees that are specifically designated to work on low and middle class employees and people that are in disadvantaged situations. They're required to hire them to qualify for the loan. So creating things like the enterprise zones and redevelopment zones allow you to entice businesses that might not be here by saying, we'll incentivize you to come here, especially if you reach out to this specific community.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to respond?
I would. Thank you.
Yes.
We also have to remember that we have an ethics commission and we have an ethics ordinance, and there are certain things in the ethics ordinance that town governance can and cannot do as far as attracting business. I have met with some of the largest employers that we have in Chestertown, and they themselves feel like they're not part of the town. I know of certain situations that have happened that have made them feel like this. I can't say that we can attract new business without letting new business know what we have and what we're about. I would love to do a feasibility study And I've gotten this idea from the classes that I go to. You present yourself. You do a feasibility study, we do it with the whole county, and we say, we market ourselves, this is who we are, what we are, where we are, and you cannot escape tax-free shopping in Delaware. And then you then market this area and find out what is attractive to this area from other business standpoints.
Anyone else would like, Mr. Serino?
Well, I think my view on that would be that municipalities really don't create jobs. Successful businesses are what create jobs. And, you know, each commercial area in our town has its own unique strengths and its own unique challenges. When you look at the businesses on 213, they have volume every single day in thousands of cars going by, so that's where you see our national chains. They have a viable marketplace. When you look at our historic district, it's a little bit different. It seems like it's not a big deal, but you got to make that turn off the main artery and go that extra 2 blocks. So the trick, what I see in the historic district, is that we simply don't have the foot traffic that we need downtown on a consistent basis to make that a truly viable year-round market, especially for retail. So I think the trick downtown in promoting job creation and business growth is thinking of creative ways to get more people downtown consistently. I think we do a fantastic job of promoting Chestertown from roughly Earth Day till about Christmas, and then from December 26th to late April, it's crickets downtown. I see it every day. We need to come up with signature events that happen in January, February, March, and April that bring bodies downtown and make it a viable economic location. And when we do that, businesses will come. I think another thing the town can and should do is promote and even encourage some residential growth within the town's boundaries. I look at places like Stepney Manor. I look like lots like Twilly Lane, where the health food store used to be located. I look at the giant location on Cannon Street that, in my view, is wasted with a large municipal lot. Intelligently designed, appropriately scaled residential growth in those locations would put foot traffic within a block of our historic marketplace, which again would stimulate economic activity downtown, make it a more viable marketplace, which will draw businesses, and then the jobs take care of themselves.
Ms. Geddes.
I think I've said this sort of before, but I look at future technology, and I look at internet, and I know that we've got a college, we've got the Sultana, there's some of the other conservancy groups and research groups. It's a perfect place to bring in small internet-based research and development business, but we need to have the communications infrastructure. We need the power not to flicker as often. We need the phones to be more accessible in all parts of the town. Some of that is that the wiring for those two have gotten a little bit old, and the town can encourage those businesses to improve that infrastructure. But the big one is that we don't have brought into the town office what could become a hub for an internet service. And if you can provide that kind of thing, it's sort of like build it and they will come. I think Bill's notion of having space for telecommuters to have office space or entrepreneurs to bring people in, that's an excellent idea. I really like that. But those are the kinds of things. I thought the brewery was a good idea. I still do. I think that there are those kinds of things. But the other thing is that the town needs to grab hold of these people and not give them every regulation in the world, and you can't do this and you can't do that and your sign has to be this and whatever. You need to have, like they did, and I'm not advocating Middletown, but when Middletown wanted Amazon, they gave them a 10-year suspension of their taxes. We have those things, those options within the town, and we need to get that kind of thing going.
Ms. Brown.
I think we need to look away from downtown Chestertown and look at the other areas of the town. I think a lot of us are focusing right downtown, and there's space in the municipality of Chestertown. I think if you ride down on Stevensville to their business park down there, you will see some thriving businesses down there. I can't remember the name of all of them, but I was amazed to see so many businesses down there. And we could actually market some of these businesses here to Chestertown. It's not going to be overwhelming like most of us think it's going to be. We need jobs here. We really do. And so we need to stop looking at right downtown Chestertown and look other places in the area to find spaces for jobs. We have business parks that are pretty much empty. So let's utilize some of those spaces.
Thank you. Does anyone else want, Mr. Fletcher?
Yeah, I agree. Downtown is the heartbeat of Chestertown. Downtown, the marina, all the businesses you see are historically there for a reason. The banks are there for a reason. I would not even think about deleting downtown, because downtown is where everybody come to socialize and, you know, go to the theater. You got every element down there. You just need the right businesses down there. That's all it is. You need the foot traffic, like you said. The foot traffic is not there. The foot traffic is up Kent Plaza. And the reason why it's up Kent Plaza, because they don't see any business downtown that they can take their money. A lot of money is going to Middletown. A lot of people going to Dover. I had these conversations when I spoke with the conservative group, which is the community breakfast group. And all I've been hearing is people don't see anything down here. We got to make sure that it's 101 economics, supply and demand. If a community wants a red tie, you don't sell them a blue tie. You sell them the red tie. And meaning that, you know, the local people don't want to go to Middletown, $3.25 a gallon of gas to get one product. We got to focus on the local traffic, like you said, the foot traffic, as well as the tourists. I want to also say this, Ron, you said something about businesses. Now, I pulled this off of the internet, the county economical development.
I think you only have a few seconds here.
I'm going to read this. This is what's out there right now, how they promote in Chestertown. Locate your business in Kent County, Maryland, where hospitality is genuine and we support your business efforts. Convenient access to Philadelphia, Wilmington, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. Dedicate workforce with rural work ethics of Kent County. Workforce training, consulting programs through Washington College and Chesapeake. That's where you build businesses too. Well-balanced public schools with career training, prestigious independent schools. That's what's out there now. So
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. We've come to the point of the meeting where we're going to do closing arguments, closing statements. And in the spirit of this evening. And I'd like Ms. Kuiper to start.
Do we have 3 minutes? 2 minutes?
Well, it says 3 minutes, but you don't have to take 3 minutes.
I was elected to the council 2 years ago, and in the past 2 years, I have spent my time taking care of the businesses in Chestertown, networking, going to school to find out what we can do to improve the economics of Chestertown, Maryland. Chestertown in Maryland is not unique in the economic situation that our whole country is in. All of the towns and municipalities that I have roundtabled with, had discussions with, from experts, everybody is including the whole town in workshops. The businesses, the residences, any event, any, like when we get ready to present the college waterfront task force results, it should be a combination of efforts of the town and the government. And it has been. We have interviewed over 100 and some people. These are from all walks of life in Chestertown, businesses, the 30-somethings, the 40-somethings, the farmers, everybody. And another thing that I thought was very interesting from some of the roundtable discussions, any big project like a park, the map of the project is put in public places like the town hall or the visitor center or a gathering place downtown. And people put sticky notes, positive responses on the maps, and then everybody sits down in the task force and goes over them. I know Easton put in a new park from donations only, and it was a community effort, and the community came up with ideas that the government, the town council, the mayor and council didn't even think of, and it made it a better park. And I just believe in bringing everybody together. I have done that. I have connected. I visit my businesses. I visit the farmers market. I have appointed myself a liaison between the farmers market and the town because I was tired of being in a ping pong match, going back and forth. He said yes, he said no, back and forth. And this is what I've learned to do. This is what I do. I feel like I'm a part of an underground network in town, and I'm kind of feel like I'm on that side of the government, not the inside of the government, because I've been able to connect and network with all of our businesses and residents, and I have never, ever not responded to a resident's concern, either directly or indirectly, and I have never, ever not followed up on any of your concerns. And I'd appreciate your vote. I'd love to be your mayor for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Serino.
Well, it's getting down to crunch time, and everybody in this room needs to ask themselves, who do you want your next mayor to be? It's a question that I asked myself up until recently when I declared to run for this office. You know, if I were on your side of the table, what were some of the qualities that I would want to see in a good mayor? One, I would want that person to be well-educated. I would want them to be articulate and able to convey complex problems into language that was easy for everybody to understand. I would want somebody with a wide variety of public speaking experiences in front of a lot of different audiences of varying ages. I would want somebody that was able to have a community-wide perspective, who understood the challenges of every neighborhood and every commercial center and every institution, and understood innately how all those were interconnected with one another. Importantly, I would want somebody with a lot of marketing experience in the 21st century, somebody that had a proven track record of selling things, because you ultimately, as mayor, are the #1 salesman, the #1 marketer, and the #1 promoter for this town. I would want somebody with extensive grant writing experience who had a track record of identifying, obtaining, managing, and implementing grants, because the vast majority of the municipal improvements that have been made in this town in the last 20 years have all been grant-driven. I would want somebody with planning experience. I would want somebody that had extensive knowledge of our educational system, who had worked with thousands of students, parents, teachers, principals, and administrators, because our educational system is what drives the entire economy. I would want somebody who had the ability to take not just the short view of issues, but had a long view of what was best for Chestertown and how we could position ourselves for economic vitality and success, not just for the next year, but for the next several decades. And I would want somebody that uniquely knew the town's many strengths that I think we tend to forget. We are a mecca for heritage tourism. We are a mecca for hunting, fishing, boating, biking, bird watching, and getting people out on the water. We have an incredible, dynamic arts community. We have a dynamic institution in Washington College that is a vastly undertapped economic resource when it comes to getting their students to patronize our businesses. And we need somebody that understands how all of these elements are interconnected and work together, someone with visionary leadership. And based on the current average age of the mayor and council, I would suggest that a little bit of youth vitality and new energy would also be a nice thing. And when I go down that list, I have to say, I hate to toot my own horn, but I do think in many ways I'm uniquely qualified to step into this position. And I hope you agree with me on November 5th at the polls. See you then.
Thank you very much. Mr. Heyman.
If I have to kind of describe myself, I kind of describe myself as a small town guy with a big city heart. You know, I've been here my entire life. I've gone through the same struggles everybody else has with money and not having business around here. I have a long-term investment in the town. You know, I've lived here. I'm raising a family here. I want my son to live here. So I'm not just looking for things for the next 4 or 5 years, but for the long term. I don't make promises that I can't keep. I'm just a regular guy like everyone else in here, and one person can't change everything. It's going to take everybody in the room, and I want to be that person to bring everyone together and take everyone's thoughts and make Chestertown a better place for everyone.
Thank you very much. Miss Sarah Johnson Brown.
Oops, sorry. Sounds like Chris was describing me. I need to make a difference in Chestertown. There are several issues that have been brought to my attention, and they are issues that I too am concerned about. Malcolm X once said, "If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything." I want to stand for past experiences as well as future changes in Chestertown. My goal is to improve the quality of life for all citizens through economic development, job opportunities, affordable housing, safety, education, recreation, diversity, and community involvement. As I look through the town comprehensive plan, I notice that the town does not plan to utilize space that is available to accommodate economic growth. I believe it states that economic growth is encouraged but is streamlined. I'm not sure that I understand what this means. Does it mean that we have to only support small businesses in Chestertown when we have land and available space that will accommodate larger businesses? If this is the case, then I can see why so many people from our area shop in other areas such as Delaware and Easton. There are some major concerns that I have in two of the wards. Out in my ward in Washington Park, there is a four-way stop sign that is often overlooked. The speed of most vehicles is fast, which creates a dangerous situation. Children are not safe playing or riding their bikes in their own neighborhood. There are no sidewalks or curbs in Washington Park or Foxley Manor. There's very little lighting in these neighborhoods. It is very dangerous for pedestrians to walk, ride bikes, and to even think about going into Chestertown by foot or by bike. We need to look at speed cameras or speed bumps, adding sidewalks, sufficient lighting, and continuing to promote the rails of trails. All of these will be beneficial to solving some of the problems that we're facing today. I am also very concerned that our children in Washington Park and Coventry cannot attend their own school. They are currently attending Wharton. I will work with the school system to redistrict so our children can return to Henry Highland Garnett. This will allow parents to be closer to their children, participate in activities such as volunteering, special events, and attending school meetings. And my time is drawing near, but I also have other plans to involve parents. But I cannot do any of these things alone, but I will be able to do them with your support. Hope to see you very soon as the new mayor.
Thank you very much. Ms. Geddes?
Okay. I'm also going to say, and I think most of the people who are involved with education would say that a lot of the skills that Chris mentioned go hand in hand with being a teacher, being an educator. But I look at a couple of key things. Again, I would ask a question, do I want to see things going in the same direction as they currently are, taking the plans we have and moving them forward? Or do I want to see that some of the things that there are some changes? And I have the sense in talking to others that there is not an open feeling about approaching the town, that there is not the feeling that people are listened to when they do approach the town, unless they are connected somehow. And I would like to see that changed. I don't make promises on a lot of things because I'm not going to make them if I can't keep them. But one thing I will promise is that I will have an email address that people can get through to me. I will be available in the town office by appointment. I want to have regularly scheduled times where for a couple hours people can just stop in, have a cup of coffee, and tell me what they're thinking. But I want that kind of openness. I want the clarity in the procedures, and in the rules so that people can put up a sign and not have to take it down because it's a quarter of an inch too long or something of that sort. I think that we need to look at the town as a whole. We do not necessarily, we've got the two sections, the historic and the rest. They need to be pulled together. And that's going to take many of the kinds of things like sidewalks and lighting, but it's also going to take planning. And I don't see the kind of thing that says we have regularly scheduled events that we know that Queen Street will finally get rid of its potholes in the year 2016. Okay, we don't have that kind of a schedule here. We don't have it as a line item budget, in the budget, and so we don't plan for those things. You have an earthquake that messes up the ceramic pipes for sewage, and we wait until we have collapses in the road before we address it. Those kinds of everything done ad hoc drives me nuts. So those are the kinds of things that I want to see, and I think that we need to say, are we going to go straight forward the way we are, or are we going to make some changes?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Arrowhead?
Sure. I want to take 15 seconds of my limited time to say a couple of things that I promised some people I would plug in a room full of people. Number one is the Kent County Spartans is a youth football team that last year went undefeated and just missed going to nationals because they couldn't raise enough money to travel there. This is a team that obliterated every team in the region. And I promised them that I would urge you all to look them up on Facebook, or if you get a chance, go and see them play this weekend in their playoff game in Wharton on Saturday morning. This is a group of young men, 10 to 13, 9 to 13, that are making your community proud, and they're an under-known story, and I just promised Art and his team that you would do that. If you want to learn about them or how to contribute, they've told me you can find them on their Facebook page as Kent County Spartans. I also want to remind people that the Rec Commission that I work with is sponsoring a family event on Saturday morning right outside the Farmers Market at Memorial Hall. It's going to be a great day. Please tell your friends with families and young people, please come out. This is how we grow communities together. In Sunday school, we're taught that greatness of our world comes when we learn to be servants. And public service is not a thing to be taken lightly. You know, it's something I believe in my whole heart that I can really support and do with you. I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't, and none of these people would either. It's a hard decision to get up and say, we want to serve you, and we're going to get kicked around by you a lot. And so it's a hard decision, and not one any of us came up here and didn't think about a long time before we got up here. One parallel I can draw from my own experience is that being a mayor is a little like being a coach. I've been very fortunate to spend many years coaching Little League in the inner city. And I can honestly tell you that I've learned more about my life and the way things are than I ever taught some of those boys about the game that I love so much. I can tell you that baseball is being a part of a team gives us roles. It teaches us when we come together as a group and depend on one another, we can expect extraordinary results. Likewise, being a mayor, you must be the person that inspires others to believe in themselves. It means putting the right people in the best positions to succeed. It also means crediting the team effort for wins, but having to shoulder all the losses yourself. Above all else, it means being a guide to others to find ways to improve our condition and achieve our shared goals. A coach's job doesn't end when the game is over, and a mayor's job certainly doesn't end when he leaves town hall. To be the mayor of Chestertown, you have to be the face of the community to the outside world and here at home. To lure new residents and businesses to town, we need a dynamic, positive voice that will extol the virtues of life here on the Chester. We need a leader with progressive ideas and an understanding of the business world that can compete with other cities in our region. Briefly, Denton, Maryland is 20 years ahead of us in economic development. We need a leader that offers young people and families willing to relocate a model to believe that they too can find a life here. We need someone that inspires our residents from within, and someone who is undaunted to the task at hand to bring back trust back to longtime residents and bridge the gap to those who have chosen to live here. We deserve a mayor that makes us proud to be from Chestertown. I really believe I'm that person, and with your help, we all will be the tide that raises all ships.
Thank you. Mr. Fletcher?
I just want to say it's been a privilege to be in this room tonight. I think I come from a point of view where I just love Chestertown. My mother's told me, don't tell all my accomplishments. I've been a banker. I've been a grant writer. I work economic development. I like to bring economical development here in Chestertown so people can have jobs. I know what leadership is. I just want to say this to you. Being from Chestertown is a great feeling. It's a great thing to go away, learn something, come back. And I know everybody has a 10-point agenda of what should be done. But like someone said, it's hard when you go out there into the community and try to convince somebody that the community is for them. I'm going to be real with you. A lot of people don't think that the government and Chestertown is for them. And I'm not trying to put nothing on anybody. I'm just saying this. We are a community. We're supposed to serve the people, all people, not just a few people. I'm going to look the people in the eyes in the camera and say this. I'm standing for you, and I'm standing for the people in this room. It's hard to reach over to different cultures. It's hard to reach over when you're going from the status quo down to the person struggling in the street. I've been that person. Matter of fact, I work a couple of days at Rose's, and I have a white-collar background. I could not even find a job. Here I am, running for mayor of Chestertown. I learned so much. You're looking at a comeback kid. I know you have agendas, but let me tell you something. Those agendas, those websites don't mean nothing. Because when somebody closes the door in your face and you can't get opportunity, then you say, should I give up or keep going? And then they close the door again to you and you keep going. See, I seen Chestertown from the bottom up, I seen Chestertown from the middle, and I seen Chestertown from the top being on all the boards. And with the conclusion I come to is that we all got to make it work together, no matter what color you are, no matter how much money you have, or all those plans will not work. How do I know? Because some businesses are almost going into the red. I want to be real with you. Some people are struggling. A mayor who takes this position has to go back and find out who we are and where we must go and where we are and where we can go. You cannot go forward if you don't know who you are. And you must be in reality to know where you're going at. And a lot of people, you know, want inspiration. We got to inspire people to build. We got to build people so we can have a greater community and take away all the red tape and bureaucracy and let it come back to rural people, small town people. I'm not a politician. I'm just a small town kid who walk these streets and have a vision and have this town be greatest than it can be on the Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Now, just before you get a chance to applaud all our wonderful candidates, the League is asked to make another announcement.
Well, this event was brought to you, as you know, by the League of Women Voters of the county, and like everybody else, we have our commercials. We try to intersperse them throughout. But we want to invite you, in addition to the forum for the people who are running for town council on Thursday night at 7 p.m. in this room, on Saturday, starting at 10 o'clock, Dr. Karen Couch. For those of you who care about the school system in Kent County, Dr. Couch has agreed to present a program about the future of the Kent County schools, the problems she sees today, how she's going to choose to address them. And I think that we thank you all for coming. Where? It was going to be right here in this room at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Okay, let's join together and give her... Thank you so much, and good luck to everybody.